What is up, YouTube? Dots Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you guys my Stamina Necromancer PvP build for the Elder Scrolls Online. So I am just going to start off this video by saying if you want to see gameplay of this video in action, please check out the montages and stream highlights playlist on my YouTube channel. I have posted a ton of gameplay for this build, so I feel like it'd be a little bit redundant to put, clips in here because, again, there's so many on my channel. So please feel free to go explore that playlist, watch some of those videos if you want to see how this build works out. But let me tell you, man, I've been trying a bunch of different setups on my Stamina Necromancer. I'm trying to kind of get, the lay of the class, figure out how I like it and how I want to play it. And this is by far my favorite build I've put together so far, and is definitely going to be the one I am maining on this guy because it has just been an absolute blast to play, and I've been really, really enjoying it. So hopefully you guys like it as well. Like I said, I've tested it in Battlegrounds, 1vx, 2vx, 3vx, and it's a great time, and it feels very strong, and it's really easy to acquire, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. As always, though, just a bit of a disclaimer. This is just what I like, what I use, and what works for me. If you would use something else on your Stamcrow or want to build this a different way, be my guest. This is just, like I said, what I liked and what worked out for me. So, starting off, though, let's kick it right off. We have the Pirate Skeleton monster set. In my opinion, Necromancers in general are one of the best classes to take advantage of Pirate Skeleton because they can very easily mitigate the negative side effect that comes along with it. So the one piece gives you about 3k physical and spell resist, but it's the big two piece. When you take damage to your health, you have an 8% chance to transform into a skeleton, gain major protection and minor defile for 12 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 30%, but reducing your healing received and health recovery by 15%, and this could occur once every 15 seconds. So, assuming it procs 100% of the time, you're looking at about an 80% uptime on Pirate Skeleton, but it won't obviously always proc 100% of the time. Now, why are Necromancers so equipped to deal with this? I've gotten a lot of questions in my stream. That's quite a bit of healing, received gone. Why would you run this? That is because of the Curative Curse passive that we get from the Living Death skill line. While you have a negative effect on you, your healing done is increased by 8%. And because that minor defile cannot be purged, and we are running the purge, but it cannot be purged, we will always have Curative Curse active when Pirate Skeleton procs. Now, because of that, between Curative Curse, the amount of extra healing received we get from our, our Bone Tyrant skills slotted. We have a couple Bone Tyrant skills slotted, so that helps us with our healing received. And our CP, we're able to we basically completely mitigate the minor defile from this skill, which is really, really nice. So we basically just get to take full advantage of that major protection. Major protection is an incredibly strong defensive buff. Incredibly strong, gives you a crap ton of resistance, effective resistance, and because of this set, we're able to run in medium armor, because this is a medium build. We're able to run a medium armor and still be tanky enough to do what we need to do. Now, our main 5-piece set for the build is going to be Bone Pirate. Bone Pirate is a line of stamina, 2 lines of stamina, a line of stamina recovery, and while you have a drink buff active, your maximum stamina is increased by 1930, and stamina recovery is increased by 145. Bone Pirate is real good for Stam Necro. Stam Necro works really, really well with raw recovery, just raw base recovery. It works very, very well with it. So if you combine Bone Pirate, Dubious Camoran Throne, and then we play a Bosmer for this build, your recovery is so good. You're look at this 1817 unbuffed stamina recovery, and that's with without Undead Confederate, without our potion out. We have such good sustain in this build. It's great. I've really liked playing the higher sustain builds, and plus because our sustain is really high, we were able to basically tailor the rest of our build towards straight up offense, which is really, really nice. Our other 5-piece gear set, and this is going to be a front bar gear set, we are looking at Hunding's Rage. Hunding's Rage gives 2 lines of weapon critical, a line of max stam, and a line of weapon damage. I chose to forego a proc set for this build. I really didn't want to use a proc weapon damage set. I don't know. I feel like Hunding's just really fit the build very, very well. You just get that flat weapon damage on the front bar, doesn't have any strings attached, just boom, 300 weapon damage. But another reason I really liked this was because of the 2 lines of weapon critical. For me, this patch, crit has felt incredibly nice, and especially with the setup that we're running, we are running a very burst-oriented setup. If you crit on that burst, you are going to, it couldn't be the difference between putting someone in the ground and not, you know. And because we're already in medium armor, because we run savagery pots, these 2 lines of weapon critical help give our weapon crit a really nice and respectable amount. It's a 1% higher because we have a keep bonus, just to disclose that. We do have a keep bonus, so the only thing I have is an extra 1% weapon critical. So unbuffed on the front bar, we're looking at 33.9%. On the back bar is about 35.1%. But again, once we pop our savagery pots, that will go up to about the mid 40s on both bars. So again, our crit is incredibly good for this build. And like I said, I don't know, I've just really enjoyed Hunding's Rage. I compared it to Spriggan's. And while Spriggan's is like a little bit more damage, it's like a tiny bit more damage, Hunding's Rage will affect your healing much better. Those 2 lines of weapon critical will boost your healing by a lot. The big line of weapon damage on the 5-piece will give you a big boost to your healing. So bigger chance for crit heals, bigger boost to your heals. I just really liked Hunding's. I tried, like I said, tried some other sets, but to me, Hunding's felt the best. And on our back bar, we are running the Master Bow. Infused Master Bow. This gives so much weapon damage, man. 452 on the enchant and 300 more against the target afflicted with our poison injection. So that's 753 unbuffed weapon damage just added onto our front bar. It's an incredibly powerful weapon when you can slot it. Poison injection is an extremely good dot as well. So Master Bow just made a lot of sense here. Plus, because again, we are a Bosmer, when you dodge roll on this bow bar, you're not only gaining the 30% movement speed from the hasty retreat passive from the bow skill line, you're also gaining 10% movement speed from your wood elf passives. So you're able to move very quickly and kite people out and if you don't want to be in a certain situation that you don't want to be in. So that extra wood elf speed is really helpful. Now, going into traits and enchants and everything, we are running 2 pieces of well-fitted, if I can find my second well-fitted. So I'm running 2 pieces of well-fitted and 5 pieces of impen. To me, I need at least a minimum of 2,500 crit resist. Cannot go any lower than that. But again, I've been really still liking the 2 pieces of well-fitted. The high recovery for me has been feeling really good, outnumbered. If you feel like you're overkill with the recovery, you could always swap out these 2 well-fitted pieces for more impen. But the 2 5s felt really nice for me. In terms of gear weights, we are running a 5-1-1, a 1 heavy. Optimally, if you did it, you know, perfectly, your heavy piece would be on the chest and your light piece would be on the belt. But I kind of got screwed with the Pirate Skeleton RNG, so I was just like, I really don't care. It's not the end of the world. It's only like maybe like a couple hundred resists. So we have a heavy helmet, a light shoulder, but again, you would want heavy chest, light belt. But again, we're running a 5-1-1, so 1 heavy, 1 light, and 5 medium. And enchant-wise, we are running prismatics on the big pieces and then stamina on the small pieces with the exception of 1. I'm running 1 prismatic on a small piece, and the only reason I'm doing this is because to get my health over 25k in CP PvP. Just feels like a very comfortable amount for me. If you feel like you don't need that extra tiny bit of health, go ahead and, you know, put in stamina, but the difference is like maybe like 20 or 30 effective weapon damage. It's really not a lot. So I just decided to go for the extra HP again, bump me over 25k, helps, you know, really helps for kiting, and you know, if I take a big chunk of damage, that little bit of extra helps keep me alive. And then in terms of our jewelry, we are running triple protective. So again, we are in medium armor, so we need to get some defense. So protective is a very good jewelry trait. Protective just gives so much defense. This gives, you know, these 3 traits give about 9% mitigation from just these traits. So as you can see, we're sitting at almost 20k resistances, okay? And then with our resist buff up, we're at 25k spell resist and 24.6k physical resist, and that does not include the major protection from our Pirate Skeleton, nor the 10% mitigation from our Spirit Guardian. So we are very tanky for a medium armor build. Thanks to these 3 protected traits. And of course, we're going all weapon damage. Like I said, our sustain's through the roof. We don't need any more, so we went straight weapon damage. Like I said, infused weapon and spell damage on the back bar. On your front bar, you have a choice between either a disease glyph or you could run poisons. Totally up to you. I run poisons myself. Get a little creative with the poisons that you run. But again, if you choose to want to go the cheaper route, disease enchant would be what I recommend. Helps with that defile uptime. But otherwise, I do recommend kind of checking out some different poison combinations that you can make. Now, moving into skills. I know as soon as I bring this up, some people are going to get a little tilted, but I've been enjoying it. We are running Dizzying Swing. Oh, real quick, I want to touch on one more thing before we get into the skills. You want to run a maul on this build. You want to run them all. This is a burst build. The extra pen is what we need. The tooltip damage from sword is not nearly as good as the pen from maul. And we don't want to run an axe because this is not a sustained damage build. This is about the big burst, so we want to run them all. Now moving into skills. Dizzying Swing. So Dizzying Swing did get, you know, some people say nerfed, some people said changed. It depends on what side of the fence you're on. But this now has a 1 second cast time. Deals a little bit less damage than it did previously. It deals, my tooltip's about 13k unbuffed, stunning them for 3.5 seconds and knocking them back 4 meters. I just really like the skill, man. I don't know. I know some people, yeah, Dizzying Swing's a love-hate relationship with a lot of people, man. People either swear by it and they love it, or they absolutely hate it. And don't get me wrong, yeah, there are some times and some players that I have a rough time landing a Dizzying Swing on. But honestly, I find the skill really, really fun to use and incredibly satisfying. Dizzying Swing into the front bar ultimate, into Blast Bones, execute. Oh god, it's so much damage. I really, really like it. I've also noticed that, at least for me, Stamina Necromancer, the bars kind of feel a little bit cramped with how much stuff I want to run. So being able to combine multiple skills onto one, for example, like you'll see like a lot of SMB Stamcrow users using Invasion, because it puts basically their gap closer and their stun on one skill. So for me, I'm choosing to use Dizzying Swing because it puts my spammable and my stun on one skill. Plus, it is a significant portion of damage, man. 13k unbuffed tooltip really ain't too shabby. Especially, like I said, you combine that with Blast Bones, combine that with your major vulnerability from your ultimate, the damage from your ultimate, as well as your execute. I've been liking it. I've been really, really liking it. And speaking of the next skill, we have Blighted Blast Bones. So you summon a skeleton from the ground. The skeleton runs out to the target and explodes. 15.5k unbuffed disease damage tooltip. Applies Major Defile for 4 seconds, reducing healing received by 30%, and creates a corpse on death. Really, really good skill when it works. Oh, man, dude. Blast Bones, I have the biggest love-hate relationship with Drunk Bones, man. Drunk Bones, oh, it's so drunk. Sometimes Blast Bones goes and attacks your target properly. Sometimes it goes and shakes their hand and does like a quick interview in the middle of combat. Sometimes it stays by your side and goes, Tad, I don't want to go anywhere. It just depends on what the Blast Bones is in the mood to do when you use it. When it lines up, when you line up that Dizzying Swing and the Blast Bones together, it is phenomenal damage. But again, when it works, it should have something on the tooltip that says this skill has like a 60% chance of dealing damage. I don't know what Zoss did this skill. I don't know how it isn't fixed yet, but hopefully we see some changes to this soon, because it is like the core skill of the class. It's like Shulks to the Warden. But like I said, when it works, I really like it. I really, really like it. But again, when it works. But again, in my opinion, you still got to use it. It's just such an integral skill to the class, and it's good, man. Plus, you get your Gravelord passives, which I will touch on in a bit. You get your Gravelord passives from it too. So overall, very good skill. We have Reverse Slice. Choosing to go use Reverse Slice over Executioner. This is our execute for the build. And the reason I like this one is because of the splash damage. We have a fair bit of AoE in the build, man. We have Blighted Blast Bones. We have, obviously, Reverse Slice. We have Detonating Siphon, which is our next skill, as well as Pestilent Colossus, which is an AoE Hulk Smash. So being able to Blast Bones a group, the Colossus the group, and then basically kind of group execute them roughly at the same time, it's just a really powerful skill. I really have been enjoying the splash damage, especially in outnumbered situations, more than just that little single, like that like tiny bit of extra single target nuke. So again, I've been really enjoying Reverse Slice. We're also using Detonating Siphon as our corpse consumption skill. It's a really powerful damage over time, 24k over 12 seconds if he's unbuffed. As long as you keep the corpse between you and your target. Again, sometimes it's not always possible, but when you can do that, this does apply a fair bit of extra pressure. In addition, when it does explode, it does deal an additional 8k damage about to all enemies around the corpse. It has a really long range, 41 meters, so you can get pretty far from this thing. Just be careful not to LOS it. And the best part is that while slotted, your damage done is increased by 3%. So this is just a flat 3% damage increase to our front bar. Again, gives us more Gravelord passives. But, you know, don't be afraid to use this, man. I know some people think that Detonating Siphon, Mystic Siphon, that they're really bad for PvP, but I've actually really been liking them. That as long as if you position yourself right, man, that little bit of extra dot pressure is really, really helpful. Especially, you know, I've had a couple situations where, like, maybe a Nightblade tries to stealth away from me. They go over to, like, near one of my corpses, and I just, boom, hit the Detonating Siphon, pulls them right out of stealth. It's a really good skill. And plus, the damage increase is just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. If you feel that you're too squishy with this build for whatever reason, you can feel free to use Necrotic Potency on your front bar instead. This will give you a ton of extra ultimate on corpses, give you another hot, and reduce your damage taken by 3%, as well as give you your Bone Tyrant passives on your front bar. But I personally have felt that I was tanky enough, so I went with Detonating Siphon. This is going to be your corpse consumption slot, so make sure that if you if you choose to not use Detonating Siphon, you do use something that consumes corpses on this slot. You know, again, I like trying to use the corpse consumptions because of the passive 10 ultimate every 16 seconds. It's a lot of ult. Our ults are very expensive, so we want to make sure that we're trying to take advantage of that as much as possible. We are running forward momentum. Yes, even in medium armor, I am choosing to run forward momentum. Major brutality. It's a hot, and activating this ability removes all snares and mobilizations from you and grants immunity to them for 4 seconds for only 2,200 stamina. Let's just call it like it is, man. Shuffle blows. Shuffle sucks so bad. Like, it is so much more expensive, and it gives you less. 3,300 stamina, okay, versus 2,200, and you get 1 second less immobilization immunity. So I have to pay more for less. You know, like, yeah, granted, yeah, I get major evasion, and that's a powerful buff. Absolutely. But to try to cast Shuffle a crap ton in combat, it's just, God, in my opinion, it's just too expensive, man. They need to make Shuffle have at least 4 seconds of snare immunity or more for me, at least, to be able, assuming you're wearing 5 pieces. Like, it should be 4 seconds and 5 pieces, realistically. But I don't want to get into a whole Shuffle debate. But I just don't like the skill, honestly. It's incredibly expensive for what it does. Not worth it, in my opinion, and I would much just rather use forward momentum. Cheaper, I get more out of it. I also get a pretty respectable hot, and I still gain my brutality. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, now you have no burst heal, but when I show you our back bar, I'm going to show you why I'm able to forego using it. We also have the Pestilent Colossus as our main ultimate. This thing is freaking amazing, dude. Deals 3 smashes on the ground. Summons a Colossus that smashes 3 times. Each smash applies major vulnerability to enemy hit for 3 seconds, increasing their damage taken by a whopping 30%. It's so good, dude. Dizzying Swing. So you use your Blast of Bones into Dizzying Swing. They're up in the air. The Blast Bone lands. You drop the Colossus. Boom. Big damage to your opponent, man. Huge damage. Also, it's another Grave Lord skill, so we get Death Knell, okay? Increases your critical strike chance against enemies under 25% health by 10% for each Grave Lord ability slotted, which is about a 30% bonus. So, assuming that we have our potion popped, okay, on our front bar, we have 44, or excuse me, we said it was like, what, 43% now? Let me just make sure I still have that passive. Oh, it went away. No, okay, cool. So, it is 44% plus 30%, 75, about 74, 75%. What's it called? Critical chance against an enemy under 25%. Really, really good combined with our execute skill. Very, very good. Back bar. We are, of course, running Poison Injection because we are running the Master Bow. It's a really good dot. It deals more damage when the target's under 50% health. So this, combined with Reverse Slice, combined with Death Knell, we are able to execute targets very easily. Really, really good. Resolving Vigor is our primary heal for the build. Should be no surprise to anybody. It's just a really, really powerful hot. Can't say much more about it. Everybody knows why. Hexproof is the reason that we can forego running Rally. I freaking love Hexproof, man. I wasn't a huge fan when I started using it, but the more I practiced using it and the more I started getting into the skill, I've been really, really enjoying it. It's such a powerful purge. Removes 4 negative effects from yourself for about 1,800 health and reduces the cost of your abilities on this bar by 3%. The skill is so good. It's so, so good. If you combine this with Vigor, you can basically take off almost all the debuffs that are on you. And it really allows you, like, Vigor plus Hexproof plus Kiting is really good. I don't feel the need for the Burst Heal, personally. I don't. Because Hexproof takes off all the dots on me and all of my negative debuffs, and then I can get my full Vigor effect, and I really, really get boosted back up. Plus, like I said, we also do have some tick heals coming in from Forward Momentum, and we have tick heals coming in from our Spirit Guardian. So the Spirit Guardian is the pet we are running for the build, so it gives us about, you know, unbuffed 1k health. I mean, granted, we're not getting major sorcery, so this pretty much is the tooltip. 1k health every 2 seconds. Again, it's a tick heal, you know. It's another tick heal, so we have Spirit Guardian, we have Resolving Vigor, and we have Forward Momentum, giving us all of our heals. But the big reason we use this, 10% of the damage you take is transferred to the Spirit instead. Oh my, so powerful, dude. Especially when combined with Pirate Skeleton, the resistances we already have. This skill helps make us incredibly tanky for a medium armor build. I love the stacking of percent mitigation that you can do with Necromancer. It's really, really fun, and I've been loving this summon more than any other summon. Now, we also have Summoner's Armor. This is our resistance buff. So basically, it gives us your physical and spell resist 5280 for 17 seconds. And it reduces the cost of our Blast Bones, and for us, our Spirit Mender by 12% and creates a corpse when the effect ends. So it just helps us sustain even more. We don't really want Beckoning Armor. If I'm trying to kite someone out, I don't want them getting freaking ported to me. Okay, so we chose to go with the Summoner's Armor. And then finally, we are using the Ravenous Goliath on the back bar as our big defensive ultimate. So it gives our max health a 30,000 boost. And our light attacks restore 630 health, heavy attacks restore 1576, and you deal 1579 damage to nearby enemies within a, I don't know the exact radius, but nearby enemies, you'll see a radius below your character when you use this. Every second, and you heal for that amount. So the more people surrounding you, the more heals you're getting, and these scale off of max health. So I'm not using the Pummeling Goliath. Got no use for it in this build, man. We're 2H and bow. Pummeling Goliath is not going to really do anything for us, and if I'm popping this, it's because I'm defensive. If I'm popping this, it is because I'm defensive, and I need to be healed, and I'm taking a lot of damage. So I want the healing that Ravenous Goliath brings. The extra bash damage on a 2H and bow build is not useful for me, okay? So this skill, very, very good defensive back bar. Also combines really well with Summoner's Armor to give us more healing received on the back bar from our Bone Tyrant passives. So it's just a very good skill. Now, I know some people, I've actually gotten this question on stream. Why am I not running the Skeletal Archer? Because I'm not running the Skeletal Archer, they have told me that while a Gravelord ability is active, your spell and physical penetration is increased by 1500. Why would you not run the Archer? You're losing on that penetration. My counter argument to that is that Blast Bones, okay? Blast Bones, when Blast Bones is the one running in, that's when I need that penetration, because that's when I'm going for my burst, okay? So that's when that penetration is most important, all right? So I don't think it's a big deal that I don't have 100% uptime on this passive because, like, I have Blast Bones, you know, when Blast Bones is active. Plus, I'm pretty sure that also applies to Detonating Siphon. While that's active, boom, spell and physical penetration is increased by 1500. But also, just objectively, the Archer's trash. Honestly, I've tried the Archer on a bunch of different builds. I've tried it. I think it's terrible. I hate it personally. It attacks the closest enemy every 2 seconds, so you can't point it at somebody. You know, there could be a guy that's low, and if there's someone standing closer to you, the Archer's not going to attack your target. So I personally think the Archer's really bad. So that's why I don't run it. I have Blast Bones and Detonating Siphon that takes care of my Dismember passive, so I'm really not worried about the Archer. But that is my skill loadout. In terms of our stats, we are looking at about 11.8k maximum magic, a 25.2k maximum health, almost 35k max stam, almost 3,300 weapon damage, 1817 stamina recovery. Like I said already, 19k-ish physical resist and almost 20k spell resist with 2559 crit resist. In terms of our Mundas, we are using the Warrior Mundas. We are also using the Dubious Camoran Throne buff food. We are a Bosmer for the dodge roll passive and the recovery passives, as I stated. Plus, the good thing, we dodge roll a shit ton in this build because it is a medium armor build, which also gives us 1,500 more penetration on top of what we already have for 6 seconds after that dodge roll. Incredibly good. We also actually have, I'm going to actually touch on this. We have the fall damage decreased by 10%. Incredibly good for 1vx, especially in a tower and whatnot. You're jumping around. You're using a lot of z-axis movement, so the fall damage is actually pretty solid. And then for our potion, we are using Savagery Pots. Have not found a potion, in my opinion, that's better than these. Gives you your major Savagery buff, restores your health, and restores your stamina, giving you major fortitude and endurance as well. Just good, man. I've considered lingering health pots, but the amount of damage I would lose by not using major savagery, it's huge. So in my opinion, this is the only potion I'd ever use on this build. You could also, if you're fighting a Nightblade, you could also use Essence of Detection. Your Stealth Detect and Major Vitality pots would definitely recommend these if you're fighting a Nightblade that's tough. But besides that, you know, weapon crit is going to basically be your friend. So it's really, the tech pot and the weapon crit pots are the only potions you're going to be using on this build. In terms of our champion points, we are looking, starting at the blue. 19 into Blessed, 81 into Master at Arms, 56 into Precise Strikes, 50 into Piercing, 64 into Mighty, 66 into Ironclad, 55 into Resistant, 44 into Thick Skin, 43 into Hardy and Elemental Defender, 19 into Quick Recovery. 61 into Warlord, 25 into Sprinter, 75 into Mooncalf, 72 into Tumbling, and 37 into Shadow Ward. Again, CP is very personal. You know, use it and configure it however you like. That's just how I've been enjoying using it. General rotation for the build. I don't know if I can summon my stuff here. Let's see. Okay, good. They won't get mad at me. Okay, so obviously maintain your buffs and debuffs. So that means your Spirit Guardian, your Summoner's Armor, as well as forward momentum. These are very key for making sure that your damage and tankiness are as high as they physically can, as well as your sustain. Okay, you have your armor buff with Summoner's Armor, so that's a huge amount of tankiness. You have 10% damage mitigation with Spirit Guardian, as well as the Undead Confederate passive. So with this pet up, our sustain is 2,085, not including our potion buff. And then obviously this is our major brutality for momentum, so we need to keep that up at all times. On our opponents, we always want to maintain poison injection on our opponent to kill, because that will make sure that our caustic arrow buff is active. Then when you want to go in on your opponent, you simply use your blighted blast bones. You go into your dizzying swing. Blast bones should hopefully hit them. Okay, into reverse slice. If you have your ultimate, you simply want to do blighted blast bones, dizzying swing, into the ultimate, into execute. If there's any corpses around, use detonating siphon to get that dot active, as well as, you know, get your corpse consumption passive bonus. And honestly, that's the majority, man. It's a pretty straightforward burst combo. Honestly, it's not like overly complex. This isn't a 200 IQ burst combo. It's very it's very straightforward. Whenever you want to kite, though, you want to kite on your back bar. Do not dodge roll and kite on your front bar unless you absolutely need to dodge something. You want to dodge roll on your back bar because you're getting 40% movement speed from Major Expedition plus the Wood Elf passives. It's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. And when you do, obviously need to, like, remove a snare or mobilization on you for momentum. If you need to kite somebody, you want to dodge roll, sprint into the hexproof, into the vigor. Okay, keep yourself kited, and then boom, go back into the fight, and boom, you're ready to go. And the reason that we don't need to run a gap closer on this build, and you're gonna see me do this a lot if you watch any of my gameplay, is that, you know, assuming, like, you know, we have all of our buffs active, we're about to go in on somebody, right? You'll see me poison injection into a dodge roll, swap bars, and then go in. So I have that 40% movement speed on my front bar, so I don't need the gap closer. Okay, the dodge roll is just a little bit of extra thing. The dodge roll on this build is also incredibly cheap. Between our CP giving us 23% reduced cost on dodge roll and the 2 well-fitted, we have a very cheap dodge roll. So we're able to, I can like weave it in there for the speed bonus, okay? Also gives us that penetration bonus because of the Bosmer passive. So we're going in with everything ready to smack someone in the face. Oh, but that's it, friends. I know this was a bit of a longer build video, man. We're looking at the clock. I was looking at 28 minutes right now, but I really wanted to fully explain everything, why I was using what I was using, and just, you know, how to use the build and why I chose what I chose. Let me tell you, though, man, I know Necromancer's got its problems. I know Necromancer's got its bugs, but, dude, I've been having a great time in the class, man. I've been having a lot of fun. And if you want to try Stamina Necro, man, I definitely recommend giving this build a shot. Like I said, it's been really enjoyable. Been really liking it. It's actually kind of, I think I've pretty much turned this class into my main. It's, like I said, I'm just really having fun. And that's what's most important. But if you guys like this build, enjoyed it, please smack a like on it. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave a comment below. Just, you know, just don't, you know, use common sense when leaving that comment there, bud. And then if you guys like this video and want to see more great ESO content, please hit that sub button as well as the bell to keep notifications on. So thank you all so much for stopping by today. I very much appreciate that. I'll see you all out there in Tamriel. As always, I'm Dots Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next video.